Okay, so we're diving into talking to kids about emotions. And wow, you sent me a lot of sources. We've got
Yeah.
guidelines from the NHS. We've got tips from Sesame Workshop,
Yep.
even child psychologist perspectives in here. And there's a few parenting blogs too. So
It's a good mix.
it feels like you want the what and the how, like practical stuff to use right away.
Exactly. And the range of sources is really helpful here.
Yeah, why is that?
It shows that whether you're a parent, a teacher, or just someone who cares about kids, the core principles are really consistent.
Interesting.
And one thing that really jumps out is this emphasis on modeling emotional intelligence ourselves.
Oh, I was totally struck by that too.
Yeah.
One article even called Parents Like the Emotional CEO
Oh, wow.
for their kids, at least until the kid's brain is more developed,
Sure.
like high stakes, right?
Yeah,
But also huge opportunity to shape how they learn to express themselves.
absolutely. It's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about being a guide, a steady guide. And what's fascinating is how many sources agree on this.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need a psychology degree to do this well.
Yeah.
It's everyday interactions.
Mm-hmm.
Small moments. That's where it starts.
So not turning ourselves into therapists.
Right.
More like emotion coaches.
That's a perfect analogy.
I like that.
And before we get into the how, let's talk about the why.
Okay.
You know, some people might think this is just about avoiding tantrums.
Right. It's got to be bigger than that.
It is.
So what's the payoff long term?
Well, the research is really compelling.
Okay.
Kids who can articulate their feelings are set up for better outcomes across the board.
Like what kinds of things?
Think school performance, stronger relationships, higher self-esteem,
Hmm.
even mental health benefits down the line.
I think one source, the one from Kids Helpline, even listed things like empathy, resilience, a more positive sense of self.
Right, all that good stuff.
I mean, who wouldn't want that for their kids, right?
Exactly, and let's be practical. You're busy.
Yeah, for sure.
The beauty is a little time invested now saves a lot of headaches later.
If kids can communicate their feelings effectively, everyone's stress levels go down.
Okay, so big picture, it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
But when do we start? Is this a teenager thing? Or,
Much earlier.
oh, real?
Even before they can talk.
Wow.
Remember that Sesame Workshop source?
Yeah.
They had brilliant, simple tips for babies and toddlers just narrating their feelings out loud.
So like what?
Like saying, oh, you seem happy about that, or looks like you're frustrated, those blocks won't stack.
Like you're building their emotional vocabulary word by word.
Precisely. And these early years are crucial.
Okay.
One child psychologist pointed out how babies and toddlers are super perceptive. Their senses are sharper. Their whole world is right now, right here. What we might think is silly is a massive deal to them.
This reminds me of a story, actually.
Oh, yeah.
My friend's toddler completely lost it because the banana she wanted was too bendy.
Oh, no.
We all laughed, but for her, it was a genuine tragedy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And she just didn't have the words.
Exactly. Now imagine not having the words to express that frustration.
Right.
That's what we're trying to prevent, giving them the tools to express those big feelings in a way that others understand.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So start young, but as they grow, how do we go beyond just happy, sad, mad?
Yeah,
Kids have this whole spectrum of emotions, right?
they do. That's where building a richer vocabulary comes in.
Okay,
It's like giving them more colors to paint their emotional landscape with.
I like that.
So instead of just mad, would they be frustrated, disappointed, jealous?
Oh, I love that idea from Strong for Life. The feelings chart.
Yes.
You can even use it with teens.
Yeah.
It's a visual reminder to help them pinpoint what's really going on inside.
Visuals are fantastic.
Yeah,
And there are so many resources out there.
yeah.
Books, games that explore emotions in age-appropriate ways.
Mm-hmm.
Find what works and make it fun.
Because who doesn't love a good game?
Exactly.
You know, that's great for everyday stuff.
Right.
But what about the inevitable meltdowns?
Yeah.
How do we turn those into
Yeah.
teaching moments?
That's where our own emotional regulation comes in.
Okay.
It's easy to get caught up in a kid's tantrum.
Yeah.
But remember, they're still learning.
Mm-hmm.
The NHS article had great advice even for teens.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like, if a teenager is upset about something they saw on the news, don't just shut it off.
Okay.
Acknowledge their fears, answer their questions, let them know what you are doing to keep them safe.
I see.
And what's important is we don't dismiss their feelings, even if we don't agree.
Right.
Multiple sources talk about validating their experience.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean you endorse bad behavior,
Okay.
but it does mean saying, I get why you'd feel that way.
So even if my kid is freaking out because I won't let them have ice cream for breakfast, I should acknowledge that feeling of disappointment.
Exactly. You can say, I know you're disappointed. I'd be sad too if I couldn't have ice cream, but breakfast is important.
Oh,
You're separating the emotion from the behavior, validating the feeling without giving in to the unreasonable demand.
okay, I'm starting to see the nuance here. It's like acknowledging the feeling gives them space to deal with the behavior part.
You got it. And sometimes it's not even about talking it out, especially with younger kids.
Right.
Remember that Strong for Life source?
Yeah.
They talked about artistic expression and using games to help process big feelings.
Yeah, and even something as simple as the belly breathing from Sesame Workshop.
Yes.
That can help kids calm down enough so they can communicate better.
That's key, and it ties into this idea of co-regulation.
Okay.
We're the calming influence until they learn to self-soothe. We're teaching them that feelings are temporary, that they can bounce back from disappointment.
So we're giving them like a whole toolkit of coping strategies.
Precisely, and that toolkit can include art, music, movement, even journaling.
Wow.
Anything that helps them move through those big emotions. It's about finding what works for each child.
This is blowing my mind. It's not just about calming kids down, it's about equipping them with skills for life. Like, if they can handle a bendy banana meltdown at 2, maybe they can handle a job rejection at 22 with a little more grace.
Exactly, and it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
What works for one child might not work for another. That's why having a diverse toolkit is so important.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good place to stop for now.
Sounds good.
And let's not forget, we're modeling these skills all the time.
Yeah.
Kids are little sponges always watching.
Oh, for sure.
If we can handle our own emotions in a healthy way, that's a powerful lesson, right?
Absolutely. It's not just about what we say, but how we act when those big feelings hit us, too.
Right.
That authenticity goes a long way.
It's like actions speak louder than words.
Exactly.
Okay, so I've got to ask you, you mentioned this starts even before kids can talk.
Right.
What does that even look like in practice?
It's about tuning into their nonverbal cues.
Okay.
Facial expressions, body language, even the tone of their cries.
Interesting.
A baby crying because they're hungry is different from a cry of frustration or pain.
So even if we don't always know why they're upset, we can still acknowledge those feelings.
Exactly. You can say something like, I hear you. You're really upset. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Even if they don't understand the words, they feel the comfort and reassurance in your tone and presence.
It's almost like we're laying the groundwork for emotional literacy before they even have the words.
Precisely. And as they start to develop language, we can start labeling those emotions for them.
Okay.
You seem frustrated that the toy isn't working. It looks like you're feeling sad that your friend had to go home.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this builds over time. It's like each stage has its own unique challenges and opportunities.
Absolutely. And remember, it's not just about the big dramatic meltdowns.
Okay.
It's those everyday moments that really build that foundation.
Like what kind of everyday moments?
Think about transitions.
Okay.
Going from playtime to cleanup time or leaving the park when a child doesn't want to go.
Those can be triggers for tantrums. My niece throws the most epic tantrums when it's time to leave her friend's house.
I bet. But imagine if instead of just saying, time to go,
Yeah.
you narrate the feeling.
Okay.
You could say, I see you're feeling sad that you have to leave. I bet you wish you could play longer.
That makes sense, acknowledging their experience without giving in to the demand to stay.
Exactly. And then you can offer a little comfort like, I'm sad to leave too, but we'll come back another time. And in the meantime, we can talk about all the fun things we did today on the way home.
So it's like you're giving them a script for how to handle those tough transitions.
In a way, yes. But it's not about memorizing lines.
Right.
It's about understanding the underlying principle. You're showing them that it's okay to feel sad, disappointed, frustrated, and that those feelings are manageable.
That's a much more empowering message than just stop crying or don't be a baby.
Much better. And here's something else to consider.
Okay.
We often talk about helping kids express their feelings in healthy ways.
Right.
But what does that even mean?
That's a good question. I guess it depends on the situation, the age of the child, their personality.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Yeah.
But one key takeaway I saw across several sources is that it's not about suppressing emotions.
Okay.
It's about channeling them constructively.
Okay, I like that. Channeling them constructively. So how do we do that?
That's where that diverse toolkit of coping strategies comes in.
Okay.
We've mentioned art, music, movement,
Yeah.
but let's get even more specific.
I'm all ears.
One source suggested having a calm down corner.
Oh, I like that.
It could be a cozy spot with pillows, blankets, maybe some sensory items like a stress ball or a weighted blanket.
It gives them a safe space to retreat to when they're feeling overwhelmed,
Hmm.
like a little emotional reset button.
Exactly. And you can introduce different coping strategies in that space.
Oh, like what?
Things like deep breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxation, even just counting to 10.
That reminds me of the belly breathing technique from the Sesame Workshop material.
Yes.
Simple but effective.
Absolutely. And as kids get older, you can introduce more complex strategies.
Okay.
Journaling can be a great outlet for processing emotions. Writing down their thoughts and feelings can help them make sense of what's going on inside.
That's a good one, especially for teens who might not be as comfortable talking about everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a private space to untangle those feelings.
Right. And remember, it's not just about finding ways to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about teaching kids to express their needs and advocate for themselves.
That's so important, especially as they get older and have to navigate more complex social situations. So how do we help them develop those skills?
One way is to role play different scenarios.
Okay.
You can pretend to be a friend who's not sharing or a teacher who's being unfair, and then you can coach your child on how to respond assertively.
It's like, hey, I was playing with that toy. Can I have it back when you're done? Or I feel like I'm not getting a fair chance to participate in class.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it?
Exactly. The more they practice these skills in a safe environment, the more confident they'll become in real-life situations.
Yeah. This is all so helpful. It's really shifting my perspective on how to approach these conversations with kids. It feels less like fixing and more like equipping them.
That's a great way to put it. And remember, you don't have to be perfect at this.
Yeah.
None of us are. The key is to keep trying, keep learning, and keep creating that open dialogue with the kids in your life.
And to give ourselves grace. We're
Mhm.
all learning and growing right alongside them.
Precisely. And sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply listen. Let them know that we're there for them no matter what they're feeling. That unconditional love and support can make all the difference.
That's a beautiful sentiment. And it reminds me of something we talked about earlier, how we as adults are constantly modeling emotional intelligence for the kids around us.
Such a crucial point, because it's not just about the words we say.
Yeah.
It's about how we handle our own emotions. Our kids are watching, they're learning from us. So if we can show them how to navigate the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience,
Then we're giving them the greatest gift of all, the ability to thrive, not just survive.
and to create a world where empathy and understanding are the norm, not the exception.
That's a world I want to live in. So let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep learning, keep sharing, and keep supporting each other on this journey of raising emotionally intelligent kids. It feels hopeful, you know?
Yeah.
Like we can actually make a difference.
We absolutely can. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are incredible resources out there, from books and articles to support groups and communities. Reach out, connect, and keep asking questions.
Because together we can make a difference. One emotion, one conversation, one child at a time.
Beautifully said.
Oh,
And here's something to chew on as we move forward.
okay.
How can you apply these principles not just to your interactions with kids, but to your relationships with other adults as well?
Ooh, that's a good one. It makes me wonder how much our own childhood experiences with emotional expression shape how we communicate as adults.
Aw,
But that's a deep dive for another day.
indeed.
Hmm.
But it's a reminder that this journey of emotional intelligence is lifelong. And it's never too late to learn, grow, and connect more deeply with ourselves and others.
You know, we've been talking about how we talk to kids about emotions.
Right.
But what about how we teach them to talk to each other about their emotions?
Oh, that's such a good point.
Especially when things get big and messy.
Yeah. Conflict is inevitable.
It is.
Kids are going to disagree.
Yeah.
They're going to get hurt feelings.
And
They have to navigate those tricky social situations.
yeah.
It's all part of growing up.
It is. And if they don't have the skills,
Right.
the empathy, the communication conflict resolution, it can lead to some tough outcomes.
Absolutely. Think bullying, social isolation,
Right.
maybe even aggression if they don't have healthy ways to express those feelings.
So how do we equip them for all of that?
Well, one of the sources, I think it was Happily Family, talked about not invalidating their feelings.
Well, that makes sense. It's so easy to say,
Yeah.
oh, that's not a big deal, or you're being too sensitive.
It is.
But even if we don't understand why a child is upset, it doesn't mean their feelings aren't valid to them.
Exactly. Instead of minimizing, try empathizing.
Okay?
You could say, I can see you're really upset about this.
Mm-hmm.
Or it sounds like you're feeling hurt. Tell me more about what happened.
So it's about creating that space for them to open up knowing that they're being heard.
Yes.
Does that then lead into problem solving?
Absolutely. Once they've calmed down and expressed what's wrong,
Yeah.
then you can start brainstorming solutions together.
Okay.
And this is where conflict resolution skills come in,
Mm-hmm.
teaching them to use I statements,
Right.
to actively listen to each other's perspective,
Yeah.
and to find compromises.
One source even suggested role-playing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what would you do if your friend took your toy without asking? Or how could you handle a disagreement on the playground?
Role-playing is great for that.
Yeah.
It lets them try out different approaches in a safe space, see what works, what doesn't.
And it builds empathy, too.
Yes.
They have to step into someone else's shoes, try to see things from their point of view.
Exactly. And that's the foundation of healthy relationships, not just with peers, but in every part of their lives.
You know, this is making me realize this isn't just kid stuff.
It's not?
We as adults could use a lot of these principles, too.
Absolutely. Who among us couldn't use a little more empathy and better communication skills?
Right. So maybe the secret is to approach these challenges with that same curiosity, empathy, and willingness to learn that we encourage in our kids.
What a beautiful way to put it. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present, being compassionate, being open to growth.
And creating a world where emotions are seen as strengths, not weaknesses.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I know a world where we can all feel safe to express ourselves authentically.
Yeah.
Support each other through tough times.
Yeah.
And celebrate the full range of human experience.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
It has been a journey.
It really has unpacking all these different perspectives on talking to kids about emotions.
I've loved our conversation.
Me too.
And I hope you, our listener, have gained some valuable insights and practical tools to put into action.
And remember, you're not alone on this journey.
You're not.
There are so many resources out there, from books and articles to communities and support groups.
Reach out, connect.
Yeah, keep learning, keep growing, and keep creating those open, heartfelt connections with the kids in your life.
Because when we empower kids to understand and express their emotions, we're not just shaping their lives, we're shaping the future.
Ooh.
A future filled with empathy, resilience, and genuine connection.
That's a future worth fighting for. So until next time, keep diving deep, keep asking those tough questions, and keep the conversation going. We'll see you on the next episode of The Deep Dive Press.